Welcome to Solutions from the Yard, a candid discussion about life behind bars and its effect on society. We'll discuss reintegration or reentry back into the community post-incarceration. Your host for this episode is Michael Dickerson-El.
Welcome to Solutions from the Yard. Today's episode asks the question, does job placement workforce programs reduce recidivism? I want to welcome you out. My name is Michael Dickerson-El, and joining me, my two co-hosts today are Charles Hopkins and Dietrich Trent. How you brothers doing?
I'm doing great.
Bless.
Yeah, we're going to touch on job discrimination and in this workforce industry that help brothers and sisters get jobs after they release from prison. And we just want to touch on some of these things from my research and my findings. In the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs says that ex-offenders job placement programs do not reduce recidivism. It said they do not. Now this was the U.S. Department of Justice saying that they do not. And it says in the annotation, this analysis of the impact of job training programs and other programs designed to assist ex-offenders in obtaining employment emphasizes that they consistently fail to prevent recidivism, although they have fostered financial independence for ex-offenders. And, the question that we want to ask is, why are these programs not effective? Chuck, give me something on that.
All right, well, we can agree that across the board that not all programs are ineffective. But in the District of Columbia and the primary program that returning citizens come to in the District of Columbia, I would say emphatically they're ineffective because, one, they're not preparing a person for a career. Two, they're positioning a person to become dependent on a stipend. And a stipend is this. I got a program. I'm taking you through this program. I'm teaching you a certain amount of skills, but I'm only doing this to give you a stipend because when I wrote this program up, the program wasn't designed to gain you meaningful employment. The program was designed primarily to give you an income, and the income being a stipend. And I went through this myself because I graduated from Georgetown Pivot Program. And Georgetown Pivot Program is a program that teaches paralegal. One teaches paralegal and the Pivot teaches entrepreneurship. Now the program is designed to give you the skills or the information about these things, but it wasn't designed to give you a job and give you a meaningful employment. So when I got in it, I was there for the stipend. When I got out of that, I went to paralegal. And so they were saying like, well, man, we might want to not allow me in because they saying, well, I might be stipend chasing. But that's the narrative you created. You created an environment where I'm coming to get the stipend. I'm not coming to get nothing because there's nothing there being offered. That's why I believe that some of them not. Because when they write their programs up, they don't write them up with, I'm looking to give this program is designed to give the individual coming out meaningful employment, the skills to gain meaningful employment, the skills to have a career, as opposed to income coming in, and then once that falls off, the person has to go, where they gonna go after that? They can't take what they learned and move forward. I'm not getting an apprenticeship in electronics. I'm not getting an apprenticeship in computer science. I'm not getting something that's a marketable skill. What I'm getting information to tell me how to interview, but it's not information to tell me how to get a career or obtain meaningful employment. That's why I believe some of them are.
Right. Yeah, a lot of the programs that they have, they, like you said, some of them are effective. It depends on which direction they push the client, because, like if they are actually given the proper skills and certifying them, that's like you said, to get them a career.
Right.
But when you just got like a program that just say, hey, we offer money, You know, now you got guys that just like, oh shoot, I'm just chasing this little stipend check.
That's right.
And they lose focus really on what their purpose and goal is to, you know, get a trade to get some form of certification. And that can hinder people because, you know, sometimes it's like you babysitting or you putting a Band-Aid on the situation instead of really getting a guy a real certification that he can turn into a career.
He or she,
yeah. Yeah, Dietrich, you know, why are these programs not effective or effective to you?
Great question. Well, I can speak of the effectiveness first. The effectiveness to me with these programs is what you put in it, because we understand that it's not a career-based pathway for no ex-offender coming from prison with these training programs, and there are some that do put you on the pathway to career training. There are some. There are a few. So let me say that, and they do work, some of them. But the majority of a lot of the programs with these job placement programs and training is there's no real backing from the community. When I mean the workforce community out there within DC, the district of the DC, these businesses, these small businesses, there's these businesses, these powerful Fortune 500 companies that come move in DC. There's no real backing into them, giving them job placements into these workforce that's going to give them a career that's going to keep these brothers and sisters away from committing recidivism. There's no pipeline to keep putting a brother into Silicon Valley. We don't have nothing, no pipeline. Speaking of that, but it's right there next door to us in Arlington, Virginia. This stuff is going on. Technology is going on over there, but there's no pipeline for that. Why there's not no career training for that. I don't want to hear job. We need to say career training.
That's
put people.
important.
Yeah, we got to change the narrative. It stop saying, because we know that a lot of these they get these stipends like Brother Hopkins was talking about. They get these stipends and they give you these job placements into these up and coming small businesses that's really new people that's not from Washington. There's not Washington. They put you in their jobs to help build their businesses up. And once your stint is up, your contract is up, you're not going to be hired. You're not, because what they're going to do is send them the next cohort to help them so they can help their business so they don't have to pay that much money to their employees so their money can be up. They do this. I know this.
That's right.
That's what a lot of the contractors are going to, these upstarting little businesses, and they hire the brothers and sisters coming from these jobs. We'll take on the 20 of your employees that come out of this program or such and such program. They do it. And why would I pay you when I'm paying you below one other thing? And I'm gonna pass it back to you, brother Dickerson-El, the stipend. And we're talking about DC, Washington, DC, the nation's capital of the world. I ain't talking about just the United States. We're talking about the nation's capital of the world. And we're talking about living wages. We're talking about giving stipends that's like what, $10? $10? What is minimum wage right now? What, $17? 17 something?
I think somewhere around 15 something like that.
Do you know? Do you understand how much a bigger wage that is? And you're talking about giving this to people for you trying to put them onto career paths and jobs, but you giving them a stipend of $10.50 for amounts for job placements. Come on.
Yeah, you see, and I'm glad you touched on that because, like you say, when we come out of prison, they have these programs that's going to, assist you in getting a job, stuff like that. But it's always the jobs that's minimum wage, the jobs that ain't paying nothing. And for real, they really getting you numb to having a low pay when they give you the stipend. Because the stipend can't do nothing but maybe, get you a pair of tennis shoes or something like that. It ain't enough to pay no rent. So now they got you adjusted into accepting low income.
That's right.
And then once you accept that low income and just say, well, it's just a little something to pat my pockets, now they going to give you a job that just ain't going to do nothing but pat your pockets. But it ain't really enough to pay the bills. It's not enough to sustain you in this high cost of living that Washington has risen to. Because the cost of living in Washington is steady going up and it's not going down. So if you giving me a job that's paying $15 an hour, what can I do with that? But live somewhere in the project, somewhere in the low income housing. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm putting myself right back in the same environment that I'm trying to escape. You know what I'm saying? And now you just like a dog chasing his own tail. You just going round and round and round, putting yourself right back in the same predicaments that you're going to be exposed to drug selling, drug use, violent situations, volatile situations, and you really can't escape. And then eventually you can get sucked right back in. So it's kind of like, damn if you do, damn if you don't type of situation. But when you coming out of prison, you really trying to change your life. You really want to excel and do something different and better. And then when you put in these situations, man, that's why sometimes the recidivism rate goes up, because a person can't survive. And then you have to find other means to survive.
Good point.
Yeah, and that's real important though. And I was just researching some stuff, man, and going into the Marquis Law Review. And when you go into the Marquis Law Review, volume 898 gives an overview of Title VII Civil Rights Act. And for those of you who don't know what Title VII Civil Rights Act is, it's Title VII is of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, in federal employment law that prohibits employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, including pregnancy, and national origin. Title VII gives employees a private right to action. Now this title, or this statute, it keeps employers for discriminating, keep them from discriminating against race, religion, whether you're pregnant, female, male. It gives a certain statute that protects the employee.
That's right.
And upon research of the Marquis Law Review, they critique this statute though.
Okay.
And when they critique this statute, in the critiquing of the statute, it says that in spite of some early successes, many commentators have noted the limits of Title VII in alleviating the problem of employment discrimination against ex-offenders. Some of these critiques focus on the fact that Title VII is not protective enough, or is simply suited to the issue of ex-offenders, employment discrimination. They also point out that because the Title VII applies only to those in protective classes, it excludes a large number of possible plaintiffs. So it's telling you right here that in Title VII, they only protect a certain class, and that's the protective classes. And it excludes a lot of the possibilities of a plaintiff. Now, Chuck, give me some of those protective classes that they have.
You already spoke on the pregnancy, if a woman's pregnant, race, religious belief, your sexuality, if you're married, or civil union, same-sex marriage, if you're disabled, and age. These are some of the things that are under protective class. But now, what's not the protected class, and this is where we find the genesis of the recidivism, why these programs don't contribute to a person not recidivating. Because the classes that's not protected, it says that, okay, your education level, I got 5 PhDs, that don't mean I'm protected. All right? because my education level don't make me a protected class. My economic wealth don't make me a protected class. My social membership, all the social don't make me a protected class. And it say illegal immigrants are not a protected class. And this is the one that comes in under our purview, people with a criminal record. So if you got a criminal record, then you're not a protected class. And we're talking about recidivism. In order to recidivate, that means you had to commit a crime according to society. So when we're talking about do these programs help to stop recidivism, I think Dietrich outlined it earlier when he was saying, like, stop saying job and say career, because a career gives you a living wage, a career gives you a sense of security. When you're talking about me not recidivating, and I don't get it, and I'm working my job, and our client came in the other day, and he was talking about, I'm working, I like the job, but they got me doing labor that's creating a hostile environment for me, carrying 40-pound buckets upstairs, and this manual labor, and it's $15 an hour. I don't want to, I'm getting attitude. This is what the guy saying, I'm getting attitude. So you create a hostile work environment, but you can do it under the auspices that I can't file no complaint under the Economic Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, which is the safeguard against discrimination. So I can't file no complaint of that. And if I complain too much about, man, why you making me do all this like this? I don't have no problem with it, but why I'm the only one that got, you saying like, well, you take it or leave it. Because I can't say, and I can say literally to your face, you can take it or leave it, felon. And I can say to your face, and you can say, like, well, I'm a complaint to the EEOC. The EEOC will say, well, you got a record. You're not protected under this. You can't get a complaint under this, which is the mechanism that society uses. So, yeah, we're not a protective class, Mr. Dickerson.
So, in according to what was read, do this really contribute to recidivism, Dietrich? According to what was read and what Chuck just said.
Yes, in all regards. When a certain entity is not protected, that means all harm may be against you.
Yeah, all best is all.
No matter where it comes from.
That's right.
So, but I want to break something down, right? About and then all this is about the economy, right? And all this is about having the protected class and not having and those that's not protected. The root word of economy is lack. Lack of. So if we don't have those that's not protected and those that's going to always be on the borderline of recidivism, they need stuff like this. This is why I spoke on that we need more backing of the community, of our community, because we could control our own economy. See, right now, our economy is being controlled from so many people from all over around. But if we get back to DC and controlling our economy, having the businesses and everybody tying in, boom, we could start being protected. Remember, and let me ask you this: what happened to the federal bonding? Wasn't that supposed to been they answer to this to the Title VII is the way for the protection under the federal bonding that we was federally insured if you hire an ex-offender?
And then in that regard, and to highlight that point again, see, that was to protect the business and not the individual. Because I'm telling you, on the plantation, I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna insure your slave. So if in the event your slave die on you, you're insured to read whatever laws came from that. So whatever, if this person comes, I'm giving you a tax credit. Yeah. I'm giving you a tax credit first. That's your incentive to get it, right? But I'm telling you in the same voice that, listen, whatever you do, if you do anything other than what you think you should do, you can file him. And if he steal, you are protected. But the individual that you hired is not protected because, according to Title VII, and criminal record.
But ain't the solution is to make sure our businesses our small businesses within DC know about, hey, you know, if you do we know if you hired this such and such, we could turn that against it and make it that is an advantage for us. That same thing that we hire you and we bond your business off. But if we develop a more of a network and a community, it turned it against them and say, hey, we need more careers. Y'all want to stop crime? You want to stop recidivism? You want to stop spending your tax money on this? Hey, let's buy into this idea right here. Man, you businesses start investing more into hiring some of these brothers and sisters so we can cut down on recidivism, because Title VII, we are unprotected.
I think, that might gonna get to a solution, but
yes, go.
You definitely ahead of the game.
Yeah, because like me and Chuck was discussing before, I had a client that came in and I was assisting him in getting jobs and stuff like that, and he was working for Giant, and what had happened was he was getting retaliation, he was getting harassment, and he was getting put into a hostile work environment from the things that he was telling me that one of his supervisors was doing. Because he was saying that, one instance he had a supervisor that kept telling him to do things, then turn around and change his mind. He said he had one time he had to move a pile of firewood from about 30 feet away from where it was positioned at, and then he turned around and came back a half hour later, say, "Oh no, move it back." You know what I'm saying? So therefore, you can see that he really had some type of some type of envy or something towards him, because he was just trying to harass the brother. And then it was another instance that, the brother was Muslim, and, he told him, man, look, I work any day except on Friday. Mm-hmm. No matter what the schedule is, just schedule my whole work schedule around Friday. And so they agreed,
But why did he want to schedule around Friday?
Because he had to go to Juma.
Okay.
So therefore, when they agreed, his supervisor agreed, but every time he got his schedule, he had to keep going to him and tell him, "Hey man, you got me working on Friday." Mm-hmm. He said, he said, "I work 6 days out of a week. Just let me get Friday off."
Hey, Mike, let me ask you something. Is religion beliefs under the protected class?
It's definitely under the protected class.
Why he wasn't protected though?
See, and that's the whole thing about, how Title VII got critiqued, because it doesn't protect ex-offenders. And see, upon research, it doesn't protect ex-offenders. And that's where the big problem coming at, and that's what really a lot of focus have to go on. Because when we come out of prison, everybody else, the protected class, can use it. Because if you are not an ex-offender, you fall under the protected class. Mm-hmm. But when you are an ex-offender, you don't fall under protected class. Now it's kind of like the Dred Scott decision.
Come on, talk about that.
We discussed that earlier. The Dred Scott decision, just all in a nutshell, Dred Scott was a slave that was taken from a slave state across to a free state. So when that happened, he petitioned to the courts and said, "Hey, since I was taken to a free state, hey, I'm free." So when it went to court, he turned around and he won in the lower courts. So then they sent it to the higher courts, the Supreme Court, the court of the land.
Yeah.
So then when they sent to that court, that's when the Supreme Court said, Judge P. Taney said, man, a Negro has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. And see, when you really look at it, man, that's the Dred Scott decision all over again. Because we have laws that's in place, but they don't affect or they don't apply to a certain class. Mm-hmm. If in Dred Scott decision, he was considered commercial property. So by him being property, those laws that was in place was real. They was edged in stone, but it didn't apply to property. It applied to human beings, but it didn't apply to property. So now when you really look at modern day slavery right now,
come on.
And that's what prison system is, modern day slavery. disguised as the justice system. Here it is when we come out of prison, we in the same position Dred Scott in. We in the exact same position because there's laws in place to protect us from discrimination in the workforce place. But guess what? It don't apply to us. You know, and that's one of the things that contribute to the recidivism because, man, once you start getting harassed on your job, retaliation, reduction of pay, you know, all these different types of things, then you turn around and say, man, I'm wasting my time trying to work. Now you find yourself in a position, you making the decision. Should I return back to what I used to do?
Recidivate.
You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to keep going through this. You know, and it's only a few brothers and sisters that can actually, you know, go through this trial and tribulation and come out when the smoke cleared. It's only a few. So that's why, you know, one of the things that we see when it comes to the recidivism rate is so high because, you know, we getting penalized all the way around the board. Low income. Then when we do finally get a job, guess what? We getting discriminated on the job. So that, you know, that's one of the things that contribute to, man, you know, the recidivism. We will continue this subject in our next episode. Thank you, Charles and Dietrich.
You've been listening to Solutions from the Yard. This podcast is presented by Voices for a Second Chance, a comprehensive reentry program that provides culturally appropriate, trauma-informed, gender-specific, and peer-based services. For more information, go to info@vscdc.org or visit our website at www.vscdc.org.